In this very first section, I'm going to set up my lab. So I exit this dialog box and I go to select some routers. These are going to be 3700 routers and they all have 12.4 iOS. So I add 4 routers here, router 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they all gonna have the same configuration. So I go here and select all of them, right click on one of them and go to configuration dialog box, and because all of them are gonna have the same configuration, I select this part. I go to slots. I have 2 fast Ethernets. I'm going to have 2 serial interfaces as well, so I use WIC2T, and now I click on OK. Now these have 2 serial interfaces and 2 fast Ethernet interfaces. Now the other thing that I want to add is 2 switches, and 3700 is gonna act like switches. So I click here, drag 2 more of these routers here. They're going to have some other symbol like this, the multi-layer switch here, and they also share the same configuration. So I go here and select 16 ESW to add 16 switching port. And now that I have these, I should change their host name to switch 1 and switch 2. And now I have 2 switches, 4 routers, and the other thing that I want to add is a frame relay switch. Let's add this here, and it is gonna be named frame relay switch 1. Okay, now I should add the connection between these routers and switches. So I go to connection and click on router 1's fast 00. It is going to connect to switch 1's fast 11. Router 1's fast 01 is gonna connect to switch 2's fast 11 again. And the same will happen to router 2 to fast 12 and fast 01 to switch 1 to fast 12, router 3 to fast 13 of switch 1, and its fast 01 is gonna connect to fast 3 of switch 2, and router 4 has the same configuration, and fast 1 4, and 2 switches have connection to each other. It is gonna be fast 114 and fast 115. This part is not captured because this is out of my capture area. And now I can have some connection to frame relay. So I go to router 1 serial 00 connected to frame relay. No interfaces available on frame relay. I'm going to add some interfaces, so that I should go to frame relay configuration, and I need some ports, and because I have not decided about the DLCs, I can add any arbitrary numbers. But suppose that I'm going to have a full mesh between these routers. So port 1 of router 1 is going to connect to port 2, port 1, port 2 of course, that is going to be on router 2. So its DLC number is going to be 102 and 201. I add this, and port 1 of router 1 is going to connect to port 3 that is connected to router 3, so this is gonna be 301. Add, and I have 3 ports on my frame relay switch. That's gonna be okay, so I click on OK and start connecting router 1's interface serial 00 to port 1, router 2 serial 0 to port 2, and router 3 is serial 00 to port 3. And of course, router 3's port serial 01 is gonna connect to serial 01 as router 4 in a connection that is gonna be a point-to-point or HDLC connection. Now, the placement of these routers is not good, and you can see the connections are, going through each other and it is a little, untidy. I'm going to change this in uh, the next section so that you can see the whole picture a little better. And based on the topology that I'm creating, I'm going to change this too. So the first thing that I want to do is to add some IP addresses to my interfaces and adding some trunks to switches. First of all, let's start these switches. I select these two switches and go to device and start. And now that I have this, first of all I want to open the console for switch 1. And I'm using secure CRT for my console, so you can select anything that you have available. The selection of the console program is not that important. And switch 2 should start and go to console as well. Okay. Now you can see that I am in privilege mode, and this is because the default configuration of GNS3 contains a line underline console 0. I'm going to remove that line going to configuration mode, line console 0, no privilege, level 15 should be added here, so that whenever you start your switch you are in user mode, not in privilege mode. And the other commands that I want to add to switch 1 is adding some VLANs and configuring the VTP to replicate the VLANs, and of course configuring the trunk port between switch 1 and switch 2. First of all, let's go to switch 2 and apply this command to that. Switch 2 in configuration mode in line console 0 will have this removed. So let's create the trunk first, and we will decide about the VLANs that are in our topology. So I'm going to have interface range fast 114 to 15. And remember to have these spaces between the hyphen and the numbers, because in GNS3 you have to have these spaces. On real switch you do not have this limitation. And now that I am in interface range, I'm going to put these interfaces to switch port mode using switch port command. Now I type SWIT as a short form of switch port, and switch port mode access, of course this is going to be mode trunk. Let's do this, switch port trunk encapsulation, because you have to assign the encapsulation first. And of course in GNS3 again we have another limitation to use just .1Q. And now that I have defined the encapsulation, the only mode that I have here is the on mode, that is trunk. Switch port mode trunk, put these interfaces in trunk mode. Okay, now DTP or dynamic trunking protocol is working right now. Now if I try to see the interfaces, I can go to privilege mode first. Show interface trunk is one of the verification commands that we have here. You can see that I have two interfaces in trunking mode, and show interface status is the other command that you can see the interfaces and the connection, the speed and duplex mode, and of course the trunking access or anything else. So on switch 1, if I try to check the interfaces that are in trunk mode using show interface trunk, you can see that there is no interface here. I should go to interface range fast 114 to 15 and add those commands that I have copied to this. So I go to privilege mode, and now if I try to check the trunk, I can use show interface trunk command to see the result, and you can see that I have two interfaces in trunking mode. And now that I have trunk available, any VLAN that I create on one of these switches will propagate to the other switch. So I have this first topology here. I can save this topology using going to file and save project or save project as, and this is gonna warn you that it will stop. So I type a name here, CCNP lab, and I make sure that save VRAM is there. I select this ellipse and go to the default place that I want to have this. I want to have this here, and select the folder. And now that I have selected the folder, I can click on OK. Everything is going to be saved there. I press Ctrl S again several times to make sure that every configuration is saved there, and now I can stop my devices or start other devices and start configuration on them.